Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. So it's the end of March, March 28th today, and I thought I've been doing a lot of talking about starting seeds and getting plants going for this month, but I haven't actually shown you, I don't think, anything that I'm growing. So I thought that we would go through, now that it's the end of the month, and just show you everything that I have started and growing, and I'll just give you hopefully a quick run through of what I have. Most of it is in here on my grow shelf. I do have a little bit in my garage, and I have a few things out in my cold tunnel as well. So we'll start in here in my grow room. Right now I pretty much have two full shelves of trays of seeds and things growing, and then I have one more little one. I'm not even sure if you can see it, but it's just down near my knees here. I just planted it yesterday or the day before, so they're just propagating. But I think I'll pull things out kind of one shelf at a time, put them on a table where there's maybe some better light without these funky grow lights, and let you have a good look at things. So give me a minute to move some things around, and I'll meet you over on my potting table. Okay, so here's one shelf that I had with things growing on it. This is mostly the things that I started the earliest. It has a few things mixed in with it, I'm sure, but most of these things were started the beginning of the month or even right at the very end of February. So let's have a little look here. So there's my onions. I have, this one is red carpet. It's a red onion. It's the first time I've grown this, and I can see that they're getting to the point where I need to do some trimming on these again. You might be able to tell where some have been trimmed, and then the rest need to be trimmed down. And then I have the yellow Spanish onion. This was a candy hybrid, and you can, if you saw the video about that, you'll see that I'd used some old seed for this one and also this one, and I didn't have a lot of seed left. So I'm not getting a lot of onions out of this, but got a good half a dozen, I think, there, so that'll be all right. And then here's my white onion. It's Superstar White, and it had pretty good germination, even though they were old seed as well. So those are doing really well. Again, need a little bit of trimming, but they're looking really good. Beside the onions here is a tray that doesn't look like much, and I just put these in the soil just about 2 weeks ago now. These went in the soil, and what this is begonia bulbs or tubers. So I have three here that are the apple blossom that I saved out of my own yard last year. And I don't know if you can see, but there's one really tiny little sprout coming in there on that one. Try and bring you in for a little look at that. I don't know how well it'll show up, but just a really tiny little sprout starting right there. And then I also have just a package of mixed double begonias, and there's a tiny little sprout coming up on this one. So with begonia tubers, you just want to set them in some damp peat moss or potting soil, and cover them over just a little bit, and just put them somewhere warm and bright, and they'll eventually start to sprout. You can leave them to sprout before you put them in the soil, but I find oftentimes they need a little bit of rehydrating. So I find you don't want it wet, but just, you know, damp peat moss or soil, and that helps them go. So that's what those are doing there. Now on to all the older guys here. So this is bunny tails grass. I started it February 27th. I really don't know why I started it that early. I'm guessing the seed package said to, but I would say by the looks of it, I didn't need to. It's gonna have to be moved up to larger pots. They're just in little yogurt containers right now, and I'm thinking they'll be able to go out probably before my average last frost though. Then down here I have some Camelot mixed foxglove, and there's actually one tiny little white storm petunia that I separated out of another tray you'll see in a minute, but for the most part that's foxglove. This tray here I'm growing in the house in warmer conditions. And then the package actually said to grow them in cooler conditions, so I have another tray that was planted the same time out in the garage, and I'll show you that in a minute. I'll maybe just put a shot in here so you can see it. It's they're way behind these, so I'm not sure which will flower better and be stronger plants, but as far as growth goes, the ones inside seem to be doing better. Here's my celery, and I'm pretty sure I put a video out about growing celery, so this was from March 1st, and it's already got several true leaves on it. Celery you really need to keep wet, so even though it looks like it's getting kind of green and gungy and stuff in there on the soil, I don't know if you can see that, but that's because you really, like, I put some water on these every single day. Celery really likes to be wet, or damp anyways. Then I have just a little bit of spinach, 2 little things of spinach. I just put these up into bigger pots yesterday. And then these are my Snapdragon rocket mix right here. They are looking lovely. I think I had 100% of the cells filled here. There's one little one you can see must have been late to come to the party, and it's getting shaded out by the rest, but these could move up in pots, but I'm actually thinking that in a couple of weeks these will be able to be hardened off and put outside. I could be wishful thinking there, but that's what I'm hoping for. And then this tray over here, this is my Sugar Rush Peach and my Hungarian Hot Wax Peppers. And I decided to try starting these just a little bit earlier this year. So these were sown February 19th. I have 3 of each. They're just, the Sugar Rush Peach, I was told, takes a really long time to get going, and it can grow to a pretty big plant. So that's why I did those earlier. And then the Hungarian Hot Wax, I just felt like last year just took a little extra time. So I just thought I'd experiment with just starting the plants a little bit earlier inside and just see how they do. Now they might have shocked a little bit because they did have some cold weather right after I put them out last year, so that might have been what slowed them down, but thought I'd just play around with that with those. And then while I was just anxious to get plants started early on, this was early February, I did these, is some lemon balm, some thyme. This thyme looks like it's been getting too much water, so I have to watch that with these. Some basil, this is just a sweet basil, and some broadleaf sage. So just some herbs there, just growing, just to satisfy my itch to get something started earlier on, and they'll grow fine inside. So that's what I did with them. So that's that shelf. I'm gonna switch this out, and I'll get you some more plants to look at. Okay, so this is what you would have seen on the very top shelf up by my head when I was introducing this video. And these are peppers, the rest of my peppers, petunias, more petunias, calibrachoa, bacopa, and impatiens. So probably looks like there's not much happening in 2 of the trays, but I'll try and bring you in here a little bit. So back here, almost this entire tray here actually, this half, is impatiens, and these were planted from seed that I had saved, and all but 3-4 cells actually have impatiens in them. So that's looking really good for me. I'm really happy with that. And then maybe I'll try and bring this one just, I don't know what makes it easier to see here, but there's bacopa along here, and it's really hard to see, but there is a few there. There's one tiny one there. There's several tiny one just starting there, a couple there, one there, a couple there, and one there. So every tray has some in it now. And there's just a little bit of impatient extra seed at an empty spot here, and they're both coming in. And then behind that is a Calibrachoa island mix. And they're coming in a little bit spotty, but most of the cells have something in them there. It's supposed to be three seeds, 3 different colors of Calibrachoa in each one of those that was in one pelleted seed. And some have a couple of plants coming up. I just put 1 pelleted seed in each tray, and some have just 1 coming up. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of there. I think there's only 2, there's maybe 3 cells out of 10 that I don't see anything in them right now, so it's not the best germination. But and then the 3 rows at the far at this end over here, that's some white storm petunia that didn't fit in my other petunia tray, and I believe every cell has at least 1 plant coming up in it. I just took the humidity dome off of these today. I have pretty much everything germinated, and I'm happy with that. And we'll let some air circulate around them, especially with impatiens. You don't want to leave them without air circulation too much. This tray here it's all petunias. There's White Storm over here, which they were the first ones to come up, and the White Storm, that's what's in this other tray too, and then White Storm here, and these are all full. There's Fire Frost up here, and I think I have, they're really tiny, but there's almost every single one you see, just really tiny, really tiny. So most of those are up. They were the second ones to pop up. And then the Red Storm were the last petunias to germinate for me, and again, most of them have, I'd say I have at least 60 to 70% germination in the Fire Frost and the Red Storm. So I'm happy with that. They'll probably they've just been still coming up, so I might even get more than that out of those. And I believe those are both seed from last year, so I think all my petunia seed was last year's seed. I don't know if that makes a difference with petunias or not. And then over here, I'm just going to turn this a little bit. I have, like I said, the rest of my peppers are in here. So I have Antoi Romanian, and I just did 3 of most of these, like 3 cells of most of these, but there's multiples, and I'll thin them out coming up here pretty soon. This is Sweet Banana. Yeah, Sweet Banana. It's funny, I had trouble getting these to germinate last year, and this year, same package, same seed, they came up really quickly. King of the North, I believe, was the first seeds I had germinate. California Wonder were the last ones. They popped about a week apart, and you can't even really tell. These are the Sweet Lipstick. I think they were another one of the first ones, and the Mini Bells. These were from saved seeds, so they're sewn really thick. I really have to get in here and thin these out. This is a variety, I think I actually bought these seeds after I did my pepper video, and they're called Early Prolific. Something I've never grown before, but I want to try. I believe they're a smaller snacking pepper, a sweet pepper. This is the Candy Cane that I'm trying for the first time this year, and I don't know if this is normal or not, but some of them have very purple leaves, but I know it was kind of a variegated plant, so I'm going to assume that's normal. And then this is jalapeno, and I did 2 rows of 6 cells on the jalapenos, and again, I'm going to need to come in and thin them out. There's 1 jalapeno that has these purple, 2 that have the purple in the leaves too, so not sure what's going on there. I don't remember seeing that in the past. Over here is the Cheap Sweet Annam mixed seeds. You may have seen my pepper video. This was just a fun little package I picked up from, I think it's AP Pepper Seeds or something like that. New company I'm trying this year, and this was just basically seeds that had dropped on the floor, and they sweep them up, and you just don't really know what you're gonna get. So there was 6 seeds planted in here, and only 3 have germinated, and these were some of the last to come up for me as well. And then way over in the corner is the some parsley and cumin, and it looks like there's nothing there probably. And these were just planted about a week ago. If you look really closely, you can probably see some cumin just poking out there. And the parsley takes at least 10 days usually, so I expect to see it soon. So I have one more shelf of things to show you, and I'll just switch that out quick, and then you can have a look at what else I have. I planted these peppers March 14th, just in case anyone's curious. Okay, so this is the last group of things that I have growing in my grow room here at this time. And this is, this larger tray here is all, well, no, it's not all. It's six 9-packs of impatiens, and then some Echium russicum and some Salpiglossis. So everything but except the Echium russicum, which is a bug loss. These were all sown March 25th, so just like 3 days ago, and then this was actually done yesterday. So I don't expect to see anything happening on these yet. Impatiens, I always say test your patience, because they can take a really long time to come up sometimes. The ones from my safe seed actually popped really quickly, but generally I find they can take up to 2 weeks. So I just have these normally sitting on a heat mat under lights, because they like light to germinate. And these guys are just along for the ride. I don't think they necessarily need the light, but they're in the same tray, so they're buried to the depth they need, and they'll just sit there. And then again, these don't look like much. This, I think, is a complete fail. I have more of this out in my garage as well, and it was some primrose seed I had purchased. The company I purchased from was new this year to me, and none of the packages came with any information on them. Not a lot of details on the website, so I tried to find what I could. I tried to follow directions from, I think it was like a Primrose Society or something online that I found. That seemed to go along with a lot of other things I saw, and anyways, nothing has come up, and I planted these, I can't remember now if it was January or February. They have been here forever. Now, every source I read said they can take forever, so I'm just leaving them and trying to be patient, but I really don't think, and I have 2 more trays like this, I don't think I'm going to get anything out of them. But that's what they are. And then this, I'm not sure what the best view is. I'll just go like this for you. This here, you can see some giant parsley. These were planted 10 days ago. The soil looks really yucky, but that seems to be what works for me for parsley. It always seems to get really gross, and then they grow. So, and then these are just, I just planted these last night, and it's just eggplant. So I have 2 cells of each of a Black Beauty, a Patio Baby, and a Violetta. And so I won't see anything with these probably for a few days yet, because I just planted them last night before bed. But that's what I've going in the house. So let's pop out into my ColdFrame real quick. Before we go to the ColdFrame, I remembered I have some sad little plants out at my front door, but they make me happy even though they're not really doing their best, just because it's something out here that's not evergreen boughs and sticks. So this is a pot of tulips that I potted up in the fall, and I had in cold conditions. We didn't get as cold this winter as usual, so the room I keep these in, it usually gets colder. It's an old building and it's not insulated as well in that area. And so I'm not sure how well these are even going to do, because I'm not sure they really stayed consistently cold enough. And now, if I wanted them to bloom faster and better, I would have them inside where it's warmer. We've gone back. We started really, really warm this March, and then we've gone back to very cold temperatures. Today's an anomaly. We're getting one more nice day, and then we have a snowstorm coming in with high winds for the next 2 days. But anyways, so this is just a pot. It has some snapdragons that I planted really early on. Some have succumbed to the cold. Like I said, some tulips. This one's gotten bit by frost. One little pansy here, and there's actually just a little bit of cat grass in the back. So I have 2 pots like this. That's the other one there. They're just flanking the door. So they're doing all right, but especially considering the weather they've had. These tulips actually are getting more sun, and you can tell they're growing taller. Just may swap the pots. And then I have a little pot there with just some snapdragons, and again, they look really sad, but I grew them. I grew out the snapdragons and pansies, started them really early in January, I think it was, and it was just for this purpose. They were sacrificial, so I could try having them out, and if they died, they died, but it didn't cost me much. They were old seed that I had. And yeah, this one is further away from the front door, and it's really, you could see we've had like -13 some nights, and I've done nothing to take care of them. But anyways, now that I showed you these, let's go to the ColdFrame. So if you're new to my videos, that's my ColdFrame. This is just a Shelter Tech. It's by no means airtight. Shelter Text, Shelter Logic, I don't know, something like that. I'll put a link in the bottom. There's always links in the bottom of my video to things that I can get the links for there, so you can have a look if you want. But as I say, it's been quite cold, so I actually have a ColdFrame inside a ColdFrame. So I did have these things just sitting in here, and was just coming and covering them with Harvest Guard at night, or I don't know if this is Harvest Guard brand, but like a fleece. But I decided, it's been consistently, it was getting very cold, so I decided to just put another just layer in here, and they're getting better light, I think. So I just put this other little makeshift ColdFrame in here. Now today is going to get really hot, and then tomorrow it's supposed to be very windy and snowy again, so we'll bring you in there and you can have a look at what's going on. Okay, so now you're inside my little teeny tiny ColdFrame in the ColdFrame. Now, a few days ago, I decided to experiment with seeing if I could get some kale and lettuce and kohlrabi and spinach going out here in the cold. So I just did this a few days ago, and other than today, it's been very cloudy and very cool. So I don't think I will be seeing any germination happening in any of these. But hopefully this will work for me, and I'll get a little bit of a head start to some of these things out in the ColdFrame without having space inside my house. And then I have this tray. I think you can see it all there. And this is some cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, and more cabbage, and more cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. And these I did at March 6th. So they're going to need to be moved along here. This is quite a while, but you can see they haven't really done much. This is just an experiment again. Like I said, we had a really, really warm start, like for what our March usually is, to March, and so I just wanted to try and play around. So I germinated these in the house, and then they've been sitting out here, and they have gotten some pretty cold nights into the negative double digits Celsius. and some of those nights I didn't cover them with the frost blanket. So I really don't think the cauliflower will wind up doing anything for me. They don't like to have huge extremes in temperature. So I don't think they'll do, although they are getting their true leaves. I see the broccoli, some of them are just getting their true leaves. A couple of cabbage are. This is mammoth red rock. Look at the color on that, it's gorgeous. Never grown that before. This is gunma, and that's Taiwan cabbage. And then I have Long Island and Jade Cross Brussels sprouts. So I actually have some protection over the bed these are going to be going in with bug netting already, and then like a frost blanket right over that on hoops. So if that setup survives the wind, that we are set to be having 90 to 100 kilometer winds the next couple days, if that setup survives, then these will be going out into that bed. It'll have better quality soil in there. It's all been amended and limed and fertilized, and it actually I trench composted, so they'll have way more nutrition, better access to regular water in there, and we'll just see what happens. Just seeing if I can get a really early start going. But I have no idea. I figure it's just seeds, so I have lots of these. I'll give it a try. So that's what I actually have growing in the various grow spaces that I'm using right now. I know I've done a lot of talk about seed starting, and I still have more talk about seed starting. I'll be putting out a video about what to start in April, and we're in the full swing of things now. So hopefully you're getting some things started if that's something you enjoy doing, and it's great to have you come along and get to show off what I'm doing here. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.